Hi, this is Doug with Wood Engineering, and today I'm going to be making a fire ring aligned with true north. So it'll be kind of a diamond shaped on the outside and a circle on the inside, and it will be aligned with Earth's rotational axis, which is, depending on where you live, quite different than the magnetic north. I'm here in central Connecticut, so that's about a 13-degree declination from true north. But we'll get into that a little bit more. Right now, my sons and I are organizing the boulders that we're going to use to make the fire ring and the seating. The boulders for the fire ring, I believe, are called I believe is Dolomite or some blend. This is I had a ex-geologist look at these little boulders and identify them for me. Thank you, Eva. And they're, we'll get some close-ups of them later, but they're remarkably smooth, dense, and whitish, pinkish, brownish. A very, very distinct kind of rock in my area. Most other kinds of rocks, every rock is different, but these are like a distinct class of rock that must have all been formed under the same geological conditions. So I wanted to make some kind of basic structure aligned with true north on my property for two reasons. One is I find I always have this psychological kind of feeling where I think north is. Even after looking at maps and seeing how the sun rises, you just kind of have this feeling, okay, north is that way. And wow, like I was just way off, even more off than I thought when I eventually got, as we'll see, which direction north is. Second reason I wanted to make this is because there's a lot of ancient stone sites, megalithic structures, including the Great Pyramids, are aligned with true north to remarkable accuracy, more than I will do here. But yeah, I've always had this interest of doing something like that. So let's see how it goes here. After organization, I have 4 piles of the Dolomite. I have small, medium, large, and then jumbo. You'll see how those are going to be used. You can kind of see the coloring better here too. Really rich, creamy color. Took me about a year to collect all of these from the surrounding woods. They're pretty rare. And here you can see the bench slash seating rocks I've collected. Again, been about a year of collection of these. You can see they all have a kind of flattish pill slash pancake shape to them that should be comfortable enough to sit on. Now, these may not look that big and heavy on camera, but believe me, these boulders are big enough to present some logistical engineering challenges with getting them to this location, especially out of the woods. So some methods I've used, I've dragged the boulder by car on a sled. Done some good old-fashioned flip-flopping both by hand and by using an iron pry bar with a ratcheting technique I've developed, and by using another technique I developed called the ratchet rock sled. So all 4 techniques were employed getting these boulders into location. Okay, enough about rock collection. Let's get started on the construction. First off, I'm making a stake, and that's to mark the center point of the fire ring. And yeah, looking nice there. Now I'm just trying to find a good center point. I have this green fencing that kind of came with the house, and it's conveniently a 90-degree arc. So just trying to find the center point of that arc and drive the stake in. Now I'm measuring 2 feet out from the stake, which will give us a final inner radius of 4 feet. So plenty big enough for a roaring bonfire, but still intimate enough as well. It also gives you space to cook potatoes to the side, or, make a little oven out of the coals, stuff like that. So I think 4 feet diameter is pretty good. Now what I'm doing here is tying a rope. So I'm doing a slip knot around the stake, and then I'm tying a bow line that will go over the handle of the shovel. And here's what that looks like close up. So of course this is going to be the compass, drawing compass essentially that I'm using. And yeah, here you can see how I'm just kind of making I'm not digging out the dirt, I'm just using the shovel as like a drawing tool here essentially. And yeah, we end up with a nice circle in the dirt that will serve as the outline for the inner circle of the fire ring. After fiddling around with the compass a bit, I have found magnetic north marked by my shovel handle. And I came up with a good way of doing this. So this compass comes with a balance, like a level in it, a bubble level, because that it's important. Otherwise, the magnetic needle won't be accurate. And I pressed it into a clump of dirt, like clay-like dirt. This allowed me to just get it perfectly level. And yeah, you can see I took a protractor just to help me find the 13-degree declination from magnetic north to true north. So true north is marked off by the stake I drove into the ground. All right, with most of the annoying thinking and planning and laying out done, I'm ready to actually put some rocks in there. So I'm going to start with the inner circle. I'm starting with the jumbo rocks, so of which I have like 5 or 6 depending. So I'm putting the jumboest of the jumbo rocks at the north point, and then at the rest just according. Then the second biggest jumbo at the south, and then east and west for the smallest jumbo rocks. And to fill in the gaps between the cardinal direction points, I'm using my large pile of rocks and getting it into a roughly circle shape. And there we go, looking good. Now with the circle in place, I am putting some corners on it basically, making some kind of triangular nipples come off at the cardinal direction points, and then filling in between those triangles to make a diamond shape. So mostly with the large and medium pile of rocks at this point. And then as I get towards the end, as I use up all of the larger medium rocks, I'm just using the small rocks to fill in any cracks. There's a lot of triangular gaps here because the boulders are roughly circular, so when you put them together you have a lot of triangular gaps, and so just trying to fill those in. You can see how it looks, has a pretty nice square outer boundary, or a diamond depending on how you look at it. I still have the stake there marking the north. You can see how I piled a little more rocks and a little bigger rocks on the northern point. So yeah, I guess it looks a little bit lopsided, but I'll be smoothing it out as I go along. Now to get the seating in place, same thing. I'm trying to put the larger boulders downhill just to make it feel like it'll have a more balanced look that way, and it makes all the seating at sort of the same level. So yeah, bigger rock. That's the biggest rock on the northern point, and it also happens to be the northern point, so that works out. Just aesthetically, I think. I'm at the corners. I'm putting rocks with corners. So it's kind of like an arrow shape. I'll zoom in on that in a second. And at the flat edges, I'm putting the flatter shaped rocks with the more of a you can see here with more of a rectangular profile. So yeah, at the corners, I have benches with corners. And for that big boulder on the very end, I had to just wedge some wedge-shaped rocks underneath just to make the seating flat. And yeah, it started raining here, so everything's nice and wet, but it kind of brings out the colors in the rocks too. I'm hoping get some acid rain here. I tried some bleach and vinegar and hydrogen peroxide. I tried to just clean the boulders, make them pop a little more, but it looked like that was going to take a lot of work, so I'm just leaving them au natural. Yeah, well, I think that's about it. I'll christen this fire ring if it stops raining at some point. It is March in New England, so it might be April before I can make a fire here. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope this sparks some ideas for your fire pit. And please like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.